Hey, I can't believe I'm about to make a video about a kids movie, but here we are. So we finally took our daughter to watch Snow White yesterday after putting it off for a while. Not, I think the first week it was out, maybe we watched the Looney Tunes movie, and then the next weekend she didn't want to go to the movies and whatever. But yesterday she wanted to go watch Snow White, so we took her. Now, I'm making this video for a couple reasons. One is I really thought the world needed to hear the opinion of another white guy. Like there just hasn't been enough of that of like older white men, you know, speaking up about this movie. And for those people that I occasionally get watching my videos that never pick up on any level of sarcasm, that was sarcasm. So I don't need you to come in the comments and be like, well, actually, there have been a lot of white guys. Yeah, I know. Yeah. There's been a lot of adults, not just white guys, there's been a lot of adults giving reviews on this kids movie. And so I thought, why not give an unbiased, just straight up talk about the movie for itself. And that's what I planned on doing. But then I kind of got interested in a little bit of the controversy. And so I thought I would talk about that too. Because I know there's some parents, if you're like me, a lot of these reviews kind of steered you wrong. Because for me, I was almost hesitant to take my daughter because I was like, this movie, like, apparently reeks. Like, it's just horrible, like, according to the reviews. And, of course, then, as I got to reading the reviews, I realized that they had been sabotaged, of course. And, it was funny because I was like, well, I'll read audience reviews, from actual people that's watched the movie. And then I realized, like, every review I was reading was copy and pasted, and it became pretty obvious I couldn't trust those. So then those reviews actually got me wanting to watch the movie because now it's like, well, I got to see for myself. And so I did. Now, if you don't want to watch this movie because of something the actresses said or did, then I can't really help you. Like that's your decision. For me, personally, like I know if I only watch movies that I agree with the actors on, like I'll never watch another movie probably. So that we're gonna put that to the side. I could not possibly care less what I don't even know much about that, and it's just not important to me, as so I can't help you there. Like if that's a problem, then that's your choice. My choice is to kind of like I've watched a lot of movies and shows with actors that I thought were that I just did not care for, but you know I don't I don't let that affect whether or not I watch a movie. So I'm going to put that to the side and we'll talk about the rest of the stuff. Now, I'm just going to, before I start talking, for the parents that are wondering, is this movie as bad as they say? I'm going to tell you a fact that will basically make anything I say and anything any other adult has said about this movie, it'll make it irrelevant. And that is the fact that you have to understand, I'm a 45-year-old man. This movie was not made for me. It was made for my daughter. It was made for the group of kids that came in because we got very lucky in the theater we were in. This group came in with a lot of kids, and so I kind of got there's a lot of kids in there watching this movie, which is made for them. It's a kids movie, and by the way, these kids were very well behaved. A lot of times you get a big bunch of kids in a big group, and it's kind of wild, but These were really well-behaved kids. But when the movie ended, now this is just what happened in my theater. When the movie ended, those kids cheered. They literally clapped and hooped and hollered and cheered. And of course, my daughter joined in. And so at that point, I was like, it really doesn't matter what I think. Like, the movie passed the test for those kids. So I can tell you, at least the kids that I saw see the movie, they liked it. They loved it. So, there's that, if you're wondering. Now, the second thing I'll tell you is just from a standalone judging this movie by itself, I thought the movie was really good. I actually enjoyed it. I'm not huge into those kind of movies and musicals. I usually don't like musicals. I did love Wicked, when I went and watched that with my daughter. I really enjoyed that movie. But so Snow White is not technically up my alley. And I'll be honest, before yesterday, I knew very little about Snow White. Like, I remember the story. I must have watched it as a kid because I know the basic story, but I can't really remember. I don't have a memory of actually watching it, and it doesn't seem like a movie that would, have been a movie I would have wanted to watch. I was all G.I. Joe and, that's all I cared about. And so just I don't think Snow White would have been high on my priority as a kid. So, believe it or not, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but I came home last night and watched the original Disney adaptation of Snow White. The one from, 1937, 38, somewhere? Like, really old. And I was actually surprised. I also did not know. I thought Snow White was an original Disney creation. I thought, and it's not. It's from the early 1800s from the Brothers Grimm, and apparently is a much darker story, which I'm interested in, like, kind of knowing that story, but that's for another time. So I did. I watched the original last night because, which seems weird for an adult, but I just wanted to see, like, how bad is this new movie compared to, the original Disney version? And I was quite surprised because I'm going to be honest. First of all, if you somehow think that 1937 animated version is better than what I watched yesterday, like, we obviously have very different tastes. And watching it, I was like, there's no way I watched this as a kid. Like, first of all, Snow White, her singing is atrocious. Like, it just rakes on my nerves. I couldn't handle it. And, oh boy. Get you! Yep. Okay, take two. So, anyway, it is, it was hard to tolerate. Like, ugh, like those old cartoons, they're a little outdated. So, but the story is, I don't know, it's rushed. It's, it just, like, for beginners, I was shocked that the original Disney, like, kind of starts out with a queen going after Snow White. Like, I thought, in my memory, I thought the queen had went to the mirror several times and it answered that she was the fairest, and then eventually, it said Snow White, but apparently that it just kicked off, like, with Snow White being the fairest, and so the queen's going after her. So that starts in a hurry and kind of surprised me. And then there's the prince. Like, this was well, before we get to that, let's talk about the actress that played Snow White. And again, not getting into any of the controversy of anything she did or said. None of that. Just the fact that apparently she's not white. I think when I was looking up like the original, a fact about her come up, and if I'm not mistaken, Colombian and Polish. Like maybe one of her parents is Colombian, one's. But I'll be honest with you, like if I saw her in public, I would probably just think she was. What I guess I would, maybe not white, but not far from it. But she's not Snow White, right? So a lot of people were ticked off about that. And yes, what I would say about that is, first of all, the origin from the Brothers Grimm is Snow White does get her name for being Snow White because the queen, the mother, the original queen, pricked her finger. It was snowing. There was snow on the ground, and she pricked her finger. And I hope I'm getting this right. And 3 drops of blood fell into the snow. And she said, "Wouldn't it be great if I had a daughter as white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as the wood on the window sill," or something to that effect. So white, red, and black. Like she wanted a daughter, and so I'm not real sure what that means. So the baby was born, and according to the story, the baby was white as snow and red as blood. Somebody will have to break that down for me because I don't really understand how that works. And her hair was black as the wood on the window, I guess. So, yeah, like for people who say her name originated from the fact that she was white as snow, that seems to be true. However, in the Disney adaptation, they don't cover any of that. Like in the original from 1937, I think the only reference is from the mirror that says something to the effect of her being white as snow, and I guess her skin. And so when you think about that, I really don't have, I realize yeah, you're changing a big part of the story, but maybe that part of the story needs to be changed. Because if you're talking about beauty, and one of the things that that you name that makes her beautiful is the fact that her skin is so white. I don't know. That seems a little 1930ish, and definitely 1800s. So maybe we not argue so much that stay the same. Just that's just my opinion. You're welcome to yours, but for me, it's like, ugh. I don't know. That kind of makes me cringe a little bit. So I'm okay with that. Like, you know, don't. And we live in a world today where white as snow is not really. And I'm not saying anyone that's super white isn't beautiful, but most white women try to get a tan. It seems like being white as snow isn't something sought after. But anyway, so that's one thing. So if you can't move past that and watch the movie, then again, that's your choice. My choice is it didn't bother me. So then there was another thing that seemed to be, I heard a lot, was that they made her so independent and she didn't need the prince, and almost as if they took away the love story. So I'm watching the original last night, Disney original, and the prince serves almost zero purpose in that story except to show up and give the true love's kiss and then just ride off with her into the sunset. They're really, the love story in the Disney original is crap. Like, I don't know how that was a love story. Like, it was basically just Snow White, like, I want a prince to take me to his castle. And that's, like, I mean, that's kind of lame. Like, that's not the kind of hero I want my daughter to have. Like, I mean, even if, however you feel, the story was just lame. Like, even if you wanted some prince that sweeps in and saves the princess, like, just overall, this, like, it wasn't good. So it needed to be amped up. And I thought in this movie I watched yesterday, in this new live action movie of Snow White, I thought the love story was actually good. I was actually surprised because I was like, I thought there was no, like, they made her where she didn't fall in love with this guy. And she very much did. And it was very much a love story. And I'll be honest, I was even surprised. I thought, because people act like this movie was so woke, I thought, I bet he don't even kiss her. Like he'll do something else to bring her back. Because I was like, I guess some people might call that a non-consensual kiss because she's in this heavy sleep, and I guess everybody thinks she's dead, and he kisses her anyway. But yeah, the kiss happens, and she comes back, and then in the original, the queen just kind of dies in a very unclimactic and anticlimactic. Wait, I'm saying that wrong. Anyway, it's not like, it's very just, I don't know, it's not really that exciting, and it's almost like they're rushing it to be over. Like, the whole movie felt a little rushed to me. Like they were trying to take this long story and cut it down into how, an hour and 40 or whatever that movie was. And I don't know, she just falls off the cliff, and then that was it. I never see her again. It's like, okay. Like, it wasn't like, if the live action movie had ended that way, I would have been disappointed. I'm like, really? That's it? So I thought they did a better job with the ending. And I won't give that away, but I didn't think it was great, the ending. To be honest, I could have used a lot more action. But I'm a guy, so of course I wanted some more action. But I thought the story overall with the prince, the whole love story, I mean, the guy took spoiler alert, the guy took an arrow for her. The prince actually saved her life in this movie. So, there is a love story. There is a prince that's swooping in to save her, even, and yet they still make her independent and strong on her own, which I thought was great. So here is probably my most controversial take, and it's about the seven dwarves. Well, first of all, it's seven dwarfs. I thought it was dwarves, but apparently I was wrong. I learned it's the seven dwarfs. So I don't know if that term, I honestly, I have not kept up with what the correct term is. Last time I heard it was little people, but little people, I swear, little people seems more offensive to me, and I think the condition is known as dwarfism. So to me, they're just like, calling them little people. I don't know. So I don't know what the correct term is. So I hope I'm not offending anybody. But one of my thoughts going into the movie was, I kind of agreed that here is 7 jobs that you could have given 7 actors, and you could have given that to 7 little people. So, in my opinion, I was like, yeah, I kind of agree they should have done that. That was my opinion going into the movie. Like, I was a little disappointed that they used, CGI or whatever. And I also heard that it was horrible, but it wasn't. I didn't think so. So, I actually, I'm a little torn on this, but I kind of changed my mind after seeing the movie last night. First of all, watching the original Disney, uh, these aren't just dwarfs. They're in a magical forest, and they're kind of magical themselves. Like, they're not, even though I know the witch does call them the little men, they're almost these larger than life characters. So if you had cast seven little people into the live action movie, you would have had to done a lot of work. Like, it couldn't have just been, like, if you made it to where it was just seven actual people, uh it would have been quite boring, because the dwarfs are very larger than life characters. They're a big part of the movie. They're goofy, they're funny, like, they're a big part of it. And so if you had cast actual people, you would have had to, it would have been costly. You would have, you know, I don't know, the makeup artist, like what they would have had to do to make these people into what the fairy tale dwarfs are, what, would have taken a lot of work. And I just don't think in a kid's movie, and I know this might be a little controversial, but I thought the CGI version was actually a good call, because they did make these really outlandish characters that were really fun to see on the screen. I think one of the things that will change your mind, or at least for me, is when you see Dopey. He is the absolute cutest little man ever. Oh, I love Dopey so much, and I just don't think you could recreate that with, it would be tough for a makeup artist to come in and recreate that on anyone. So while I agree that could have been seven jobs, you could have hired seven people, I can't really knock it as far as the quality of the movie, because this is a kids movie, and you got to remember that. You got to remember when you're judging this movie, it's a kids movie. So I thought it was kind of a good call, and I liked it. Uh, what? Somebody's mad that. Come here. You want to come up here? What's going on? You got food and water. Oh. What? What do you want? She's mad because she wants to be in my chair so she can lay on my chest. That's, she's hilarious. I don't know where I was, but anyway, I give the movie, like, I don't know what I would rate the movie myself. I can't really rate the movie myself, because, again, I'm a 45-year-old man. This movie was not made for me, so it's not a movie I would purposely rewatch a bunch of times. It's just not made for me. However, I'm okay with rewatching it, because I know when it comes to Disney Plus, this is going to be a movie that I see multiple times, because my daughter is going to watch it probably a lot. So if you're wanting to take your kids to watch this movie, all I'm saying is it's not a crap movie, like so many people have said. I think a lot of the reviews have just been based on their opinion of the actresses, their opinions of the actress not being white, things of that nature, the CGI, I guess. And so I get it. If those are your reasons for not wanting to watch it, then that's fine. That's your reasons. But for anyone who can look past that and doesn't see that as an issue, it was a good movie. It really was. I thought the movie was good. I think you'll enjoy it if you enjoy those type of movies. Like, I'm not even really big into those type of movies, and the cat's not going to stop. She really wants me to finish this up, so I'm going to finish this up. go watch the movie or don't. Like, it doesn't affect me, you know, or maybe you just want to wait until it comes out on Disney Plus. But if your kids want to watch it, if your kids are asking you to watch, by all means, take your kids. Like, don't let your opinions affect your kids. Like, it's a movie, for crying out loud. It's a kid's movie. And I guess if I could say one thing in closing, it is that. Don't get so worked up about a kid's movie. Like, really, I almost didn't watch this because of the reviews, and that would have ticked me off. But if my daughter wanted to watch it, I'm going to watch it regardless. You know, it would have to be something bad, you know, that I didn't want her to see before, you know, if she wants to watch something. I'm not going to let my own opinions. I'm rambling. So that's my thoughts on this kids movie. And again, I can't believe I just sat here for however long and talked about a kids movie. I must be bored. Later.